Okay, so here we go. I'm from South Carolina, little country. It's where I grew up. My mom grew up. Her mom grew up. This is where we learned to cook and clean greens. So I'm going to give you what I know old school and try to do it quickly. So just follow along and should be okay. All right, thank you. Oh, here we go. First step. Okay, so I purchased a 4-pack of the turkey legs. I give them a good rinse just because. Probably needed, but that's the way you do it. Okay. I'm only going to use 2. There's only 2 of us, and 2 will be plenty. So I give the turkey legs a good rinse. And once I get them rinsed off pretty well, I put them in a pot. This is a cast iron pot, but you can use whatever kind of big pot you have. So I put them in this pot. And in the pot, I'm just going to put enough water to cover the legs. The thing about greens are, cooking greens is they cook down. They start off looking kind of like it's a lot, but they really cook down. So here's what I put in the pot. There's the turkey legs. There's 2. And I guess the pot might be a little less than half full. Okay. I'm going to sit that on the stove. Okay, now that's on the stove. Next thing I'm going to do is clean my greens. Give them a good rinse. I didn't grow these in my garden. I purchased these at the store just so I can show you how I prepare them before cooking. So I bought this bunch. They were pretty and they didn't seem very tough. What I do is I check the leaves to see if they're really thick. If they are, that means it's tough. So what I'm going to do now is give these a good rinse in this big bowl. Okay. The other thing I do is I cut off a lot of this stem. And I just get rid of those. So I'm just removing a long part of the stem. These little ones, they're okay. And these haven't been eaten too badly. Sometimes they're really torn up and beat up, but these weren't so bad. They look pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is give these a good rinse. I'm just filling the bowl I have here with water. And I'm going to take the leaves and I'm just going to rinse them pretty good. And I'll set those aside. Some people would say washing that. I'm pretty sure wherever they grow these, since they're not organic, it's probably best to get them from natural grocers or Sprouts, but they look good. You're okay. So I give these a good rinse. Nice green leaves full. I only bought one bunch because I already had some greens that I washed and cut off previously, and they were in the freezer. So I'm going to put those on. Anyhow, just give those a good rinse, which I just did. Don't need all that. Make sure you don't let any of these greens get in your garbage disposal, because they will really mess it up. After giving it a rinse, I gave them a quick rinse. I'm going to pat these dry. Because I'm going to show you how I cut them. Sometimes I just cut them up before I wash them. But in this case, I just washed them, gave them a good rinse first, since I was already at the sink. Okay. So the turkey legs are already cooking over there. And they don't have to get done. The greens can cook along with the turkey legs. Now, when I went to the H-E-B, I checked their collards. They didn't have any turnips, but we usually use collards and turnips and mustards. They didn't have turnips, they did have mustards. So I just got these collards. Now I'm going to show you how I cut them. Okay, so here we have the collards. Okay, now if they had a lot of stem in them, what we do sometimes is we just push it up like that and take some of it out, but I don't think this is too much. So we take them and we stack them like so. I'm even adding these little ones. We stack them like so, and then we roll it. Just roll it like a big, I don't know, roll. And after doing that, we cut them up. If you can see that. Now the bags of mixed greens they have in H-E-B, they call them a trio. They're mustard, turnips, and collards. But I don't really like to get them unless the fresh greens look bad. The reason why is because they have a lot of what I call trash in them. They have those pieces that I cut off to throw away. They have a lot of that chopped up in there. It takes a lot of space, and I'm sure they don't want to give you, well, they probably goes through a machine and chop them up. What I'm going to do now is I have these fresh ones that I'm going to add to the ones that I already have chopped up. Now the ones I have chopped up are from my gardens. They are a combination of mustard and collards. And they're frozen here. These are from the freezer. And you see they're all chopped up, mixed and chopped. Then there are no turnips in there, but you don't have to have turnips. Okay, so that's what we're going to cook. So I'm going to pause this a little bit to give the turkey legs a few more minutes, maybe about 30 minutes more to cook, and then we'll get these in the pot. So here we have those 2 turkey legs that are roaring boil. So I'm just going to add the greens to the pot now. Like I said, it's okay for them to cook together. Here I have the greens that we just chopped up. I'm going to put those in first. Just put them right in there. And then I have the greens that were frozen. Another thing about freezing greens, you can blanch them. You can chop them, clean them, chop them, and blanch them by just putting them in the pot of water, boiling them, say, for 10, 15 minutes, taking them out, draining them, letting them cool down, and putting them in the freezer, and it'll work. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting these frozen ones in too. I put the fresh ones on the bottom. My thinking is they will cook a little longer since they're a little deeper in the pot. So I'm adding the frozen ones now. Again, these came from my garden. It's a combination of collard greens and mustard greens. Just combining the different greens gives you more flavor. So I'm putting them in it. And even though this pot looks like it's very, very full, like I said, they cook down. They should cook down just about to that water line we put the turkey in. Maybe a little more water because of the water from the greens being frozen. But there, the greens are on. To that pot, I'm going to add just a little bit salt and pepper. The turkey's going to give them a smoky kind of flavor. And this is why I don't write down a recipe. It's according to your taste. I'm using sea salt, but you can use any salt you want to use. I like sea salt. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of that. I can't say a teaspoon, tablespoon, whatever. I'm going to give it a little bit of black pepper. And I'm going to start it off with a bit of chicken broth. Just a tad bit. I can add more once I see how much water comes from the greens being frozen. But I'm just going to add a little bit of that if I can get the top off. I don't have much strength in my hands. Oh, okay, I got a little safety thing on it to help to get that on first. You know what? I might have some in the fridge. Let me check real quick. I do already have a pot in the fridge, a bit in the fridge, so I'll just add a little bit of that. Like I said, I'll check later and see. Another thing that's real healthy for you is once the greens cook down and they're done the way you want, that nutrition that comes off of those greens with the seasoning and the water. We call it pot liquor. That's some really good stuff to give you a really good health boost. So I'm just going to cover those and let them cook down. I'll probably let them cook. Yeah, for what time is it? It's almost 6. I'll probably let them cook until almost 7 on low. I'm gonna turn the heat down till about 7. Then I'll check and see where they are, and I'll make another short video to show you how. Actually, I don't really have to. Once they cook down and I feel like I don't have too much liquid, if I feel I have too much liquid, they should be done by then in about an hour, hour and a half. If I feel I have too much liquid, I'll pour a little bit off in a cup or something for later. But the last things I'll add is I'll add vinegar to my liking. I like mine with lots of vinegar. And all my family, we like vinegar in our greens. But you just add little to you like it. You can start with a tablespoon more if you want. And the last thing I'll add is the crushed peppers. The thing about the crushed peppers is, again, you do it to your liking, because of course it's going to add some heat. If you got kids or people who don't like things kind of spicy, you might only want to put like a pinch in there. So basically that's it. So I'm going to let these cook, and once you get started, you can do the same, and that's just about it. The rest of the seasoning is to your taste.